We are getting to chat with Ron MacLean. He's going to be in town on Sunday. We're very excited to have you come and visit us here in Strathmore.
Well, first of all, give your dad a hug for me, Natalie. And Tara's very excited, and the whole crew is very excited to do our holiday show. As you may have heard, we have famous legendary rodeo announcer Bob Tallman has voiced the opening essay. So that gives you an indication we're pulling out all the stops. And Ole and Jacob from On the Bench are coming over from Airdrie to entertain us on the weekend. And they're, incredible. I have a copy of their book, which is The Fundies, right? So their big thing is how to celebrate. And I remember shooting with them in Airdrie a year ago, and no matter what you try to do to one-up them, you can't. They're special. They're two great guys, both coaches, and yeah, it's a fantastic story, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be lovely. We're really excited with all the events that are coming. And so, have you ever had a chance to visit us in Strathmore before?
No, which is funny because I lived in, as you know, grew up in Red Deer, and I lived in Calgary, down in the southwest end of Calgary. So I've been all around Strathmore, but I'm like, well, my town of Red Deer, everybody knows Gasoline Alley. People go from Calgary to Edmonton or Edmonton to Calgary, and they just sort of whip by and get gas and a coffee, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate to say it, but I'm kind of guilty of that when it comes to just east of the city of Calgary.
Well, we're glad that you're going to be here on Sunday. And then with this hometown hockey, because you guys have been doing this now for a while, what do you like getting to be a part of hometown hockey? Why do you like that?
Well, Natalie, there's so many aspects to it. I think you probably got into the business you're in just to make someone's day, right? It's a joyful thing to do radio, and it's the same with hometown hockey. We celebrate Rink rats. We get to shine a light on some of the people involved in the Wheatland Kings junior hockey operation and minor hockey in Strathmore. And obviously, when we do our little parade of champions on Sunday, it's how we open our telecast each week, and all the kids from minor hockey to boys and girls are all dressed in their sweaters, and it's fantastic. And I think it makes the NHL a first-hand experience for once. We'll have Mason Raymond there, and know that Curtis Glencross is coming out, Mike Commodore is coming out, Matt Stagen's on the broadcast, and will be part of the festival on the weekend. So, for children, they get to just mingle with some of their heroes, and 6 years now we've been doing it, and I think both Tara and I kind of pinch ourselves at how well it's gone and how nice it is to do.
Yeah, there's been some wonderful communities, and I guess for us, like, as we've watched you over the years, because I feel myself, you're a very strong storyteller. You just have that ability, which is lovely. And then what impact, when you get to tell these stories of all these small communities, do you hope that it has across Canada?
Well, people love to see themselves reflected, Canadians to one another. And then, as an example, we have an unbelievable story we'll run in our second intermission of the broadcast on a woman, single mom, who raised 5 kids, and 3 of them are playing in the Western Hockey League, and one's playing high-level Junior A. So she managed to do it, to make ends meet, to have them play, and she's deaf. And so her kids all signed, sign language from the beginning, and they kind of worked their way into a more social aspect by playing hockey and being involved in sports. And it's the Weisblatt family story that, honestly, you'll be going for the Kleenex. And I feel like I've been saying that all month because we've had some really great stories that we've told. And that's one of the highlights, is just to inspire everyone to sort of see the ordinariness and yet the extraordinariness of what a hockey game can do.
And so when you look at it like that, and you've had so many different opportunities to cover all of these stories over your career, is it kind of those like amazing moments? Is that what keeps you coming back?
Well, for sure. I was telling you off air that I'm a child of the military. So my mom and dad, we moved around a lot when I was a boy, and I was an only child, so I kind of relied on friends to be my siblings, and it was constantly being uprooted and having to start anew was really traumatic for a child, and yet it was also extremely rewarding for a child because it forced you out of yourself a little bit. It certainly taught you that, okay, maybe a Maritimer is distinct and maybe an Albertan's distinct, but there are way more commonalities than there are differences, and that was a great upbringing for me. And I think that Rogers Hometown Hockey has proven to be, obviously our ethos is to be inclusive, and it's to be, I think, representative is one of the things that we really pride ourselves on. So this feature on a deaf mom being able to inspire a family to excellence it's just a simple story. I mean, we all have our crosses to bear, and being deaf or being blind or et cetera it's not like it's the end of the world, but it's unique, and there are barriers. So these stories inspire, and for sure that's part of what keeps us coming back. And then after that, it's just the joy of being around, as I said, rink rats.
Yeah, there's something to be said for growing up in the rink. I played ringette growing up out in a small town in Rockyford, and just getting to be in the rink every weekend was kind of like the best part of growing up.
Same for me. I was on the rink in Red Deer. There was 2 of them, Morris Row and Eastview, and I was out right after school and all day, both Saturday, Sunday, and Ringette's really strong in Red Deer. It's a fantastic game. So you're lucky when you get to be a part of that. I think as you go on in life, certainly you have to choose between individualism, and that's the kind of self-drive that you have, but you really quickly understand that cooperation or collaboration is vital to anybody's success, and nowhere do you get a better example of it than in sport.
Yeah, we had, so there's a small town next to us where I grew up called Standard, and they just built a full-size outdoor rink and fundraised for it, and the town community worked bees to put it together, and it's been open for a week, and there's never not been a day where there have not been kids or parents or families out on that ice.
I just love it. When I was young, I would sort of wake up to my window. I always kept my window open during the winter. I loved cold air and just loaded up on blankets and slept that way. But the first sound of the morning would be the pucks whacking against the boards. I was a lazy kid, so I didn't get up till 10 or 11 on weekends. But you could tell when it was lots of pucks firing off the boards at the nearby rink that it was going to be a good day to go skating. And I think, to feel that cold air in your lungs, and it's funny how you get warm fast, even outdoors in winter in Alberta. There's no joy like it. And for me, on Christmas Eve, I used to always go over to our local rink at Joseph Welsh Elementary School, and my mom and dad would lie down before midnight mass. They would have a little nap around 8:30, 9 in the evening, and I would go over to the rink. And it was too late to skate because the lights were off at 9, but I would just go sit in the basket of the goal nets and hopefully look for Santa Claus. and just felt so comfortable at the rink, right? It's a great safe haven for sure.
No, it's lovely. And so when you get to come into all these different towns, I guess you've been doing this for a couple years now. Do you still get nervous when you're stepping in front of the camera each week, or is it kind of like second nature at this point?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx myself because I suffered incredible anxiety, Natalie, when I was young in my career. I would say the time I was 18 to mid-30s, I would get panic attacks and had to kind of fight my way, especially back in the day. I'll be 60 in April. You just didn't talk about those nerves. You felt like you were the weak one. Anyway, I got through it. Somehow I sort of soldiered on each week and fought the butterflies or the anxiety attacks. And then later, I don't think you ever want to be cocky. I think you understand this, that it's good to have the humility in you. It's good to have the caring in you to kind of create good work. It's as simple as that. If you're not prepared, if you're not trying, you won't do good work. So, and it's funny because obviously I've been through the ringer here in the last month or so with Don Cherry's story and the National Hockey League's story. And just, again, sort of having to sit back with all that experience, 40 years in the business, and still realize there's certain things I'm going to say that will be triggers to offend or to put someone on the defensive or put someone in a mode of shutting down. And so you never stop learning in this business. That's one of the things about communication is it's a gift when someone has an ease with it. But I honestly know for myself, there's been, right back to when I was in school and I thought I'd won the debate and I'd be voted down, there's a reason to be humble because you still don't get it right no matter how often you've done it.
Absolutely. Like I've only been in the radio for a couple of years or so now. It can be very nervous if people think, oh, you've got this. Before I go on and hit that button, it's like the nerves are there and the butterflies are in your stomach, and going live can sometimes be a little bit scary.
For sure. But that's a good thing. It's part of, I used to look when I was young in radio, I'd look at some of the senior announcers and think, God, I can't wait for the day when I'm as relaxed or chill about it as they are. And that took a long, long time, and there's no substitute for experience in that regard. But I do believe it's a really good sign when you're caring. I always think, it's kind of the ultimate lesson of sport. The outcome isn't what is really important. The battle is. So that's all part of it. And it's my trick was always to just get out of myself and think about the other. Why are we doing this? Why are you having a conversation with Ron? It's to try and make someone's day a little bit brighter. And when you keep it in that context, it kind of takes you away from worrying about how you're coming across or Ron's coming across and gets us into the right space.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about this station here is we get to focus so much on the local aspect and the people in the community that sometimes it's just like they kind of do it for me. I just get to go, hey, how are you? Come in and talk about what's going on with you. And just the joy of that for me is why I love getting to do this in a small community for sure.
Totally what it's about, Natalie. It's same with Rogers Hometown Hockey. It's we're just a lens through which to show off Strathmore this weekend and some of the people behind, or the backbone of minor hockey in Strathmore. That's a huge part of why the show works, and it's certainly, what's in it for us in the broadcasting business is, as Wayne Berry from Lethbridge is gone now, but he was my first mentor, and he was always the one who taught me, let your guest be the star, right? So he said, if you let them shine, Ron, by extension you will, and by all accounts, I can tell you're right into that mode.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I know you've got a lot to do, so thank you for taking time with us today. We look forward to having you with us this weekend. It's going to be an absolutely lovely time.
Yeah, I hope you come by the studio, Natalie, Sunday, and we'll snap a photo and send it to your dad.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Yeah, we're going to be there all weekend on the ground, so we're really looking forward to it. Thank you again so much, sir.